Hello and welcome to Motor Week. On today's programme, Ken Gibson blows hot and cold. Well, mostly hot actually, when he goes extreme weather testing in Death Valley, as you do. Elisa Portelli develops a little bit of Italian flair in the Fiat Punto, fitted with this season's must-have accessories, darlings, an F1 style gear change. And first of all, I get to grips with the Alfa Romeo 156 1.6, what must be surely one of the most interesting everyday cars on the market. So let's imagine you've finally persuaded the him, her or it of your dreams to come back to your gaff for a bit of scoff. You've got to impress, so you decide to cook yourself. What are you going to serve up? Rehydrated noodles and lager? Well, no, you had that for breakfast and it's not exactly posh. Cottage pie with plenty of cabbage? Nah, far too stodgy, far too, well, English. No, you're going to serve any kind of pasta with any kind of ready-made pasta sauce. Of course you are. It's easy to cook, and best of all, it's foreign, Italian in fact, which makes it interesting. We all know that the Italians somehow manage to make even the most mundane chores interesting and full of passion. Anything, eating, drinking, shouting matches with the neighbours, touching up strangers, all gain a little med cred if they're done in the Italian style. So, rather than go romping off to try and impress the locals in a stomping great 3-litre V6 Alfa GTV, well, anyone can make that an interesting car, we decided to really put them to the test and try out the cooking version of the 156. It's a basic, no-nonsense commuter chariot. Now, can they breathe their Italian magic into that and make it work? Well, you have to admit, it's not bad to look at. Don't know why it is that we just can't seem to manage to produce cars with anything like the flair, not visually anyway. I mean, Rover, bless them, what's left, would have us rolling around in the 75 or even the 45. Nice. A reminder for you, Alfa introduced the 156 in 1999 and we all loved it pretty much straight away. And here's a seriously clever move. Whilst the rest of the industry was jumping on the increasingly popular coupe bandwagon and trying desperately to squeeze slopey two-door bodies onto saloon chassis, Alfa Romeo thought to themselves, what defines a coupe? Well, it's two doors, isn't it, as far as most of us are concerned. But what are the problems with coupes? They've only got two doors. It's not very practical, is it? Especially in a company car. So they thought, we'll give it 4 doors, but only 2 door handles. They disguised the ones on the back. It's still there. It still opens. You can still get in and out. It's practical, but it looks like a coupe. Very, very clever. Just because this is the bargain basement of the 156 range does not mean you sacrifice any of the flair and design quality that you get in all the rest of the 156. You still feel very, very special in this car. The interior is somehow uncluttered, but at the same time nicely finished, nice little touches. I love the twin binnacles staring at you through the wheel, and the materials feel surprisingly good quality, particularly when you find out what this car costs. Okay, so it's only got a 1.6 litre engine. And yes, there's no doubt about it, the chassis can and does handle more power very nicely, thank you. And yes, perhaps not having as much power makes the car feel a bit heavier and not quite so well balanced. But slow, it ain't. And it's still quite a nimble little thing. If you work it hard enough, you can whip it along country lanes at a decent enough pace to frighten grandma. Objections? Well, my dad's going to say, it's an Alfa Romeo, son, it'll be gone in a week, rusted to nothing. Not strictly true, they've addressed those issues of quality. Then he'd say, it's an Alfa Romeo, son, cost you a fortune. No, very much no. You can get into the very basic version for about 13,800 quid. Bargain. And even this, which has got the extra swanky alloy wheels and bits and pieces, 14,800. That's a lot of car for not much money. Worth a thought.
Now here's one for you. If someone asked you what you use your 5 gears for, then you may possibly say something like this. Well, first, you may possibly use it to pull out of your driveway first thing in the morning. Second, well, it could be used for going round that roundabout just to get you shopping. Third gear, well, we're driving with control now down those windy little country roads. Fourth gear, we're picking up speed, going down the A roads with a few little bends here and there. And fifth gear, well, we're cruising now, we're going down those motorways and the dual carriageways, but not going over the speed limit, remember? So why have Fiat come up with this? The new Fiat Punto speed gear, and it doesn't only have 5 gears, it has 7! So you want to know how it drives? Well, I'll tell you. This sporting version is a 1.2 16-valve engine, and for that I'm amazed at how much poke this car really has. When in standard automatic mode, the gear change is hardly noticeable, delivering a smooth but adequate driving power. And as with many automatic boxes, there is an economy button giving an even smoother gear change and increasing the overall MPG. But with a quick flick to the left, you become fully in control, changing rapidly through the 7 available gears. The handling is extremely responsive, with the hardened sport suspension giving a smooth and solid feel through any bend. And for when you want to tackle those tight manoeuvres, there's a city button which increases the help given by the power steering, so those 3-point turns are just a walk in the park. So what comes as standard on the Punto Speed Gear Sporting? Well, there are lots of things, but I'll tell you just a few. Look at the tail lights, a nice razor edge to them on the back, colour-coded bumpers, coloured tail fin, and also your back tail light. And there's more as we go around to the side. Just look at these lovely curvy colour-coded skirts. We've got central lock-in, we've got alloy wheels, halogen lights, and I think the best bit is the colour. Pretty funky, hey? Moving inside, it's still got that funky kind of feel to it with these 2-tone sport seats. We've got some great room in the back there if you've got the kids that are coming along on the journeys with you, with the rear seat belts as well. Now these seats really do feel great, and they are height adjustable as well for your little tiny person like me. You've got your steering wheel, again, which is height adjustable, fantastic option. You've also got your front dials as well. They're nice and plain, so they're very, very easy to read. And you've got a visual display unit there as well. Moving over to your radio, a nice, powerful, very, very loud radio here, which has got radio and a tape system. Moving down, you've got an option for air conditioning as well in those hot summer days that we don't have. And you've got a nice silver coated finish to the centre console. Moving down, you've got again an option. You've got a 5-disc CD. You've got a passenger airbag as an option, and also comes as standard is your driver's airbag. And not forgetting the main feature of this car, the chrome-plated 3-system gearbox. Simply push it down into reverse. Can you hear that? Nice little alarm warning bell there. Pop it down into drive, flip it over to the left, and hey, fancy a race off the lights, boys? Alright, maybe not. So, the facts and figures. 80 brake horsepower, 0 to 62 miles per hour in just over 12 seconds, top speed of 103 miles per hour, and an average of 43 miles per gallon. Not bad for a 1.2 engine. And the price isn't bad either, with this Speed Gear Sporting retailing at under $12,000. Now compare these prices to a standard 5-speed box Sporting or ELX, and there's a mere £500 difference. So why would you want to pay that extra £500? Well, I can think of 2 reasons. First option is you've got the automatic box, which is great for when you're pottering around the shops or if you're stuck in them horrible motorway jams. Second option, at a flick of a switch, you can transfer it over to manual control, where you get the chance to really, really drive the car. And don't forget, it's not 5 gears, it's 7. And that brings me on to my own third, very personal reason, because I think that you fellas out there, you just want to brag to your mates that you've got 7 gears.
Coming up after the break, you can leave your woolly hat behind because we'll be more than toasty warm in Death Valley with Ken Gibson for some extreme weather testing.
Welcome to Death Valley, California, one of the most inhospitable places on earth. A few years ago, it would have seemed the perfect location for Skoda cars, because most people thought that Skoda was very much on its last legs. And this is Furnace Creek, known to the locals as the gateway to the hell that is Death Valley. And that's why we're here to put the Skoda Fabia to the ultimate extreme weather test. So as you can see, I'm all strapped up, I'm wired up, my heart monitor tells me that I'm a cool 70 heartbeats to the minute. I'm all ready to take on the desert. Here we go. We are right in the middle of Death Valley, and if I'm sounding as if I'm dying, that would be right. We've had the windows up for about 15 minutes with no aircon on. My heartbeat has gone from just under 80 to just under 90. My mouth is dry. The sweat is literally dripping off me. The steering wheel's on fire. The gear lever is not for touching. And dear God, let me tell you, if you ever come to Death Valley, make sure you've got air conditioning. And we've got about another 10 minutes to go, if I make it, before we can get back and do the same route with aircon. Do I need aircon? I've got to have water. Oh, that's like hot tea, gee. This has been in the air-conditioned box. Unfortunately, the air conditioning is off, and so is the water. I love the heat, and some people like it hot, but let me tell you, this is ridiculously hot. I don't ever want to be this hot again. This is the second run of the Death Valley circuit, and as you can see, there's a big difference because wonderfully we've got aircon, and what a difference. It's like going from hell to heaven. My blood pressure has gone from high 80s back down to just round about 70. I feel cool. And it's not just the aircon and the driver that get put to the ultimate test in Death Valley. Skoda also used the searing heat to test all the in-car fabrics, the material on top of the steering wheel, all the dash and the doors. So, Doctor, what's the verdict of my state of health after that drive through the deadly desert?
You are in a very good condition, Ken, for a man of your age.
Thank you, I'll take that as a compliment, Doctor. So, as the good doctor said, the only thing I really need now after my epic drive in the desert is water. Lots and lots of lovely, cool water. I think I've found just the place. Yahoo!
Oh yes, nice big boot. Plenty of room in there for me wellies. I do like estate cars. Oh yeah, plenty of room in the back, looks nice and comfy. And roof rails, full length. They'll be useful for my luggage box when I go camping. Nice. Who cares? 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 Who cares? We want things that really matter. Massive alloys, huge low-profile tyres, full-length skirts right along the side, big flared arches, massive grills. And best of all, with over 380 brake horsepower, yes, there is room for the kids in the back, but you could call this Daddy's Revenge. When I was a kid, I had a real hankering for a little red sports car. This is better because this is a bloody great big red sports car. I've had actually no idea what this car is for. It's immensely powerful and it's an estate. Maybe it's aimed at like reps. Maybe it's reps revenge. I remember seeing a documentary in which we were told about the pecking order on the motorway, and if a GLX driver came up behind a GL driver, then the GL driver had to give way. Well, what are you going to make of this, boys? They're going to get out of the way, that's what. The more you look at the RS4, the more fascinating the numbers become. The engine, for a start, 2.7 litre, 2 turbochargers. It's a V6 and it produces 380 brake horsepower. That gives it an amazing 141 bhp per litre. Nearly all of that 380 brake horsepower generated by the fantastic engine goes straight to the road thanks to Audi's legendary Quattro four-wheel drive system, and the result, well, it is breathtaking. There's an amazing amount of mid-range. It's certainly not a peaky, wimpy little turbo engine. In third gear, there's huge grunt available. But let's face it, with all of that power, there really is not room on this country's roads to explore what the car can do. Certainly not safely, and certainly not legally. But I know of somewhere where we can. And Audi obviously agree that perhaps there isn't always enough room on the road, because this beneath me, this tarmac, is not just your ordinary tarmac, it's your Grand Prix tarmac. We're at Silverstone, the Grand Prix circuit, and they've brought us here to go around it in the RS4 with instructors. So I'm not talking to you anymore, I'm driving. Before we do anything else, I'm going to be taken around the track with my instructor Clive at a nice, slow and steady pace, which is good news because it's not too uncomfortable and I get a chance to see where I've got to go. I don't want to get lost. Take it away, Clive.
Okay, right. Coming into Lovefield here, this is a corner which is very important because it goes around forever and a day. So what we're looking at is the 22 board over there. Can you see that board on the outside the track?
Yeah.
That box. We need to look well through a corner and look beyond the corner, so don't just look at the corner when you get to it.
First up, we were taken for a gentle and very useful spin around the track by an instructor with some handy points in coping with a car with this much power on what is still a very challenging circuit. The Silverstone Grand Prix circuit is 17 corners long. It's about 3.7 miles in length, and I've forgotten every single inch of it. So I'm going to have to remember it, Clive, which means you're going to have to explain it to me.
Right.
Time for my first laps, and as soon as you take off, you realise no matter how wide the track might be, with this much power on tap, you've got to be very careful to keep it on the grey bits and out of the green.
This is our slowest corner we're coming to now, so this is Vale. I want to slow it right down here now, down a gear for me. That's it, good.
It was quite a thrill taking such a powerful car around the Grand Prix circuit. I could almost hear the screaming of the F1 cars. Mind you, none of those are estates, and it's very easy to forget that this is still an estate car. Do you know, I'm still having difficulty seeing the point of this car. Yes, it's fast, well, it's very, very fast indeed, but it's still an estate car, a £46,500 estate car that goes like a racing car. But it doesn't really matter. This is one of those cases where there doesn't need to be a point. It's just a bit of fun. Well, quite a lot of fun. There's also exclusivity, of course. If you pay that money, you'd be very unlucky if your neighbours turn out to have one as well, because there's only 400 in the country. But if all that's tempted you to buy one, you can't. They're all sold, all 400. So I'm going to play in this one while I can. I'll leave this, I think.
I wonder if, like me, you've dreamt of a car to suit your every mood. A car that can cope with every season. Rain, snow, an impossibility? Well, think again. I think I've actually found the answer. Meet the Plurial. Considering this is a concept model, it feels remarkably nimble. It feels as if it's ready for the road now. Handling at the sort of fairly limited speeds we've been doing is very impressive. It seems like a pretty modern car with good road manners, very manoeuvrable. The fact that it's just slightly longer than the Saxo means it's excellent around town in the city. Taking the entire roof off couldn't be easier, thanks to Citroen's clever design. This is just wonderful. Yes, this is much more like it. Roof down. I don't even care that it's December. I feel like the king of cool now. And of course, convertibles are wonderful for posing in the sunshine. Family saloons are wonderful for taking the kids for a drive. But what happens when you want to get seriously practical? When you want to get those awkward loads in? What you need then, of course, is a pickup. Well, once again, Mr. Plural comes up for trumps. And the great news is, I can exclusively reveal that Citroen are going to go ahead and make the absolutely incredible little Plural. Expect to see it hit the roads by the end of 2002.
Next week, just for the heck of it, we pretend we're absolutely minted and agonise over which Porsche Boxster to buy. Decisions.